Hey, it's Captyn Zodiak. I was on an uptown A train in Midtown, and across from me is this pretty girl, this Asian girl. And I look at her and she looks at me, and we don't want to stare, so we look away. And then we keep looking back and forth to see if the other person's looking at each other. And I look at her some more, and I smile, and she gets kind of a shy smile on her face. And with good fortune, the train comes to a stop, and they make an announcement that the train will be delayed for whatever reason, I don't remember. And there I am, looking and not looking at her, and there she is looking and not looking at me, smiling and looking away. Feeling a little shy. And then I just get up and I go over and I sit down next to her. And I can see she's a little bit nervous about that. And I'm feeling a little bit nervous too, but I'm trying to act confident. I think I'm doing a pretty good job of acting confident. And I'm like, hi, you know. How are you? My name is, what's your name? And we talk a little bit. And I find out that she likes house and trance music, and so do I. And I suggest that perhaps one night we go out together dancing. And she says, okay, yeah, that would be good. We exchange phone numbers, and I call her. And our first date actually ends up being, we go hiking out in Delaware Water Gap. It's really nice out there. Nice drive out there. Really nice walking around out there. We have a really nice day. But before we get out there, when I go to pick her up, I go to the apartment building that she says she lives in, and I ring the bell, and it's like 8 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, it's an early date, but, you know, we're going to be driving out to the Gap and hiking all day, so we got to get an early start. It's a Sunday morning, about 8 o'clock. And I'm ringing the bell, and she's not answering. I call her phone, she doesn't answer. And I'm thinking, damn, I've just been stood up. This really sucks. It happened to me once before when I was a kid. I met some girl at a radio station's Halloween party, and we made plans, and she stood me up. I don't know why that happens. Why would someone do that? It's not a good feeling. So anyway, here I am thinking it's going to happen again. You know, once something happens to you, there's always that fear that it's going to happen again. Yeah, you gotta live with it. Some people are just, you know, they're undependable, they're inconsiderate, whatever. But anyway, I didn't get stood up. Just as I was about to leave, there's this girl, this Taiwanese girl. Her name is Ping. Ping, like ping pong. Pong was not her last name. Her name was not Ping Pong, nor was it Ping Wong. Anyway, there she is across the street, and she's waving to me. She comes across the street, and she's all happy to see me, and I'm happy to see her, and what a relief. I haven't been stood up. But I came in from Jersey, had my breakfast and my tea, and I needed to use the bathroom. So I said, before we get in the car and go, would it be okay if I go upstairs and use your bathroom? And all of a sudden she's like, well, no, we can't go upstairs because my friend's up there. We were out last night partying, and she got real sick, and so it wouldn't be good to go up there right now and disturb her. So I'm like, all right. We get in the car, And we go down 9th Avenue, go through the Lincoln Tunnel, out 495 to Route 3, to Route 46, to Route 80, out to the Delaware Water Gap. And it's a nice autumn day. Early autumn, sunny, it's warm. And we're walking along the Delaware River. And I'm telling her about how it's a great place to go camping. And she says, "Oh, let's go camping. I'd like to go camping." So I'm like, yeah, that would be great. Let's go camping. So I go out and I buy a small tent and all kinds of camping supplies. And I reserve a great spot at this campground on the river. It's a really good particular campsite that I know. And the night before we're ready to go, she cancels on me. And I'm just like, wow, this really sucks. After all I put into this, not only the energy to go out shopping, the money to buy the stuff, but the investment of my heart and my dreams, because I had it all in my head. What a great weekend we're going to have camping together. Be out there in nature, swimming in the river, smelling the trees, sleeping under the starlight and the moonlight, probably making love under the sky, under the nighttime sky. It's going to be great. And all of a sudden it's like, oh, sorry, I can't make it. I have to do something else. I don't even remember what she said she had to do. So, in my life, I go through big upward spirals and big downward spirals. When it rains, it pours, and, so when I'm hot, and when I'm not, I'm not. And it seems like it's that way for most of us to some extent or another, especially when it comes to romance, if you're single. When once one person starts getting interested in you and you're feeling the love, all of a sudden it just seems like it keeps coming and coming and coming. And when you're going through a dry spell, it's like nobody will even look at you. You could be the best looking person in the world and it's like nobody even wants to pay attention to you. You could be the most interesting person in the world. No one wants to pay attention to you. So anyway, I had just been going through a big dry spell, a long dry spell, living like a monk. And I liked this girl, and she was attractive. And so maybe I should have called an end to it right then and there when she broke those plans for the camping trip. But I didn't. I gave her another chance. A lot of it just, I guess, because it's been a long time and I needed to feel the touch of a woman. When it's a long time. A friend of mine was just talking about this the other night with me. She had gone through a long dry spell. She's a very pretty, sexy woman. And she said, finally one day her and her friends met these guys on the beach and, this guy was, kissing her and touching her, and she said it just felt so good. I just needed that, the touch of a man again. And that's where I was at with this girl Ping. I just needed the touch of a woman. So we made other plans. We made a few dates, had a few dates. But in between, a lot of dates were broken. She was just really undependable. And then I tried to call her and her phone would be off. I don't know why I put myself through it. I guess sometimes when your needs are really strong and your desires are really strong, sometimes you'll put up with a lot of crap. And hopefully you don't, make that a career or make that a relationship. Because I think a lot of us have done that too, where we've actually entered into a relationship based out of needs that necessarily weren't so good for us and stayed in those relationships maybe a bit longer than we should have. Maybe some of you are in those relationships right now. And it's always hard to tell, isn't it? Should I stay or should I go? Am I in a relationship where, based on needs that are not serving my best interest? Or am I just going through a spell right now in a relationship that, I should try to work it out and let it happen? So anyway, this girl was really quite an experience. One night I'm leaving work and I'm driving into Manhattan because I had this meeting with this producer who had produced some pretty well-known shows that you've seen on television. And she was interested in this show, Captyn Zodiak. And I was very excited about that because obviously it would be great if one day I could make money at this and put more of my time and energy into it and not into my so-called day job. So I was really excited about this whole thing, and I'm driving into Manhattan. I have an 8 o'clock meeting with this woman who's a producer. Again, somebody who's produced some pretty big shows. And all of a sudden I get a call from Ping. And she's like crying and she's so emotional. This girl's got to be the best actress on the planet because I'm usually pretty good at detecting false emotions from good emotions, or at least I'd like to think so. And this sounds very real to me. Man, she's really upset. She just sounds devastated, And I'm like, what's wrong? And I'm just sitting there in traffic. I'm already I'm feeling kind of, I don't know, I guess you could say frustrated because, I had gotten out of work a little bit late and I need to be at this meeting on time. Last thing I need to do is show up for this important meeting late, or not even make it, and she's already gone. And yet I'm stuck in the traffic. That's the worst feeling when you have to be somewhere at a certain time and all of a sudden there's nothing you can do. There's this wall of cars around you. So anyway, Ping's on the phone with me, and she's like, and I'm like, what? And she says, my best friend in Taiwan was just shot and killed. And I'm like, oh man, I'm so sorry for you. Are you okay? And she's like, And I said, listen, I don't think you should be alone tonight. Because she lived alone, she was here in this country. She had some aunts and uncles here and stuff, but, she was young. She was 22. She supposedly just graduated from Columbia and was, working on Wall Street. And I say supposedly because, as you'll see as the story goes, most of what she said was a little bit questionable, to say the least. So anyway, I said to her, I don't think you should be alone tonight. I'd like to come over and be with you. And she's like, no. I just want to be by myself. You don't need to come over. And I'm like, no. So I said, listen, could you at least... I have to get to this meeting. The meeting should be over by 8:30 or 9 o'clock. And she just lived uptown. The meeting was midtown. I said, can we talk about this after the meeting? I'll call you like 8:30 or 9 o'clock. She says, okay. I said, leave your phone on. Because again, like I said, she had a history of a lot of times not having her phone on. So leave your phone on. Okay, I'll leave my phone on. I get out of the meeting. I dial Ping. And her phone's off. And I'm like, the F and B. Now I'm pissed. So I start driving back to Jersey City, downtown Jersey City, where I was living at the time. Down around 4th and Monmouth. And I get home, and the phone rings, and it's Ping. She's all upset, and I'm like, look, do you want me to come over? You want to come over here? And she's like, no, I'll be okay. I just need to talk to you. So I'm talking to her and everything. And another day or two goes by. She calls me all upset again. The mother of her best friend who was shot and killed, the mother in Taipei, Taiwan, who lives in a high-rise penthouse, jumped out of the window and killed herself because she was so upset over her daughter being killed. Another day or two goes by, and Ping tells me that they found out who shot and killed her best friend. It was Ping's ex-boyfriend. Another day or two goes by, and she says her ex-boyfriend is now here in the United States, and she thinks he's trying to find her and kill her. And she's afraid. But she doesn't want to come over, and she doesn't want to see me. She just wants to tell me all this stuff. So this guy's hunting her down now, supposedly. Supposedly. Everything with Ping is supposedly. She calls me about 5:30 or 6 p.m. one night. And she says, I just saw him. I was leaving work, walking down Wall Street, and he was there. But he didn't recognize me at first because I had glasses on and I had my hair up. And when I knew him, I didn't wear glasses. So right now, I just ducked into this building where there's a security guard, and he called the police for me. But I looked outside, and I think he's gone now. And I'm trying to comfort her and reassure her. She's acting like she's all frightened and upset. Next thing, she's at the police station, and there's police there from Taiwan now, meeting with her. They're trying to track this guy down. They're trying to find this killer of her best friend, who's now trying to kill her. And she tells me that they gave her a handgun, and they want her to keep it with her for protection. And I'm like, oh, really? You don't have a gun license, a permit to carry this gun or anything? The NYPD is going to let you do that, huh? She says, well, it's not up to them. Taiwan police gave me this gun. I have to protect myself. And I'm wondering, why is she telling me all this? What are all these stories about? Maybe it's all because maybe she carries a gun in her pocketbook, and she's afraid that one day I might see it, so she's already given me a story for it in case I happen to see it one day. You know, maybe she's some prostitute or something that carries a gun with her. Or maybe she runs with, like, one of the Chinese gangs or something, you know? I don't know. I don't know what's going on with her. But she's trying to tell me that she's going to be carrying a gun. And that she doesn't even know how to use a gun. But they want her to carry it anyway. She's acting like she's all nervous about it. Like, oh, I don't know what to do. I don't want to carry a gun. I don't know how to use a gun. But they're making me. And I still haven't seen this girl the whole time. Since all these stories started. Then she tells me that the Taiwanese police have given her 2 bodyguards to follow her around and protect her wherever she goes. And she's not going to be able to see me for a while because they're limiting where she can go. She can only go back and forth from her apartment to work with these 2 bodyguards. So she's not going to be able to see me for a little while. Yeah. So anyway, I found it interesting. Anyway, a few more days go by, and she says it's no longer safe for her to be in Manhattan. So they're moving her down to stay with her uncle, who lives down in central Jersey somewhere in some really wealthy town down there with all these $1 million homes. So she's going to be down there now, commuting back and forth to Wall Street with the 2 bodyguards. I'd really like to see you, but I can't. I really want to see you so much, but these bodyguards, they won't let me. Another day or two goes by, and she's all frantic and hysterical again. She says, he's down here now, trying to find me, this killer. And when my uncle was driving up the road, he took a shot at the car, and he shot my uncle. He didn't kill him, but he shot him. My uncle's in the hospital right now, and I'm really upset. So this is a small town down there. I think, let me call the police down there. Maybe they'll tell me, maybe they won't. But let me just ask them if they had a shooting last night in their town. So this woman, maybe a dispatcher, answers the phone when I called the police. And I said, did you have a shooting in your town last night? And she kind of laughs and says, we haven't had a shooting in this town in 30 years. Oh, okay, thanks. And she calls me the next night, and she says, I just miss you so much. I really, really want to see you. I'm going to sneak away from these bodyguards and come up and see you. And I'm like, wait a minute. If you got this guy who's trying to kill you and he's stalking you, you can't leave your home there. You can't leave the bodyguards. No. I want to see you. I want to see you. So I said, well, can I speak to one of those bodyguards? Can you put one of those bodyguards on the phone? And all of a sudden she's like, well, they went out for dinner right now. They went out to pick up some food. They'll be back in a little while. I don't know exactly when they're going to be back. Oh, come on. These guys are supposed to be protecting your life, and they both left the house and went out to get something to eat? What kind of bodyguards are they? I know some people who can really protect you, I tell her. They'll make sure nothing happens to you. Why don't you let me give them a call? I'll get you some real good protection. Oh, no. These guys are good. These guys are good. A few more days go by now, and she says, could you tell me how to get to Madison, New Jersey? To Convent Station? I have to go to a place called Rod's, to the hotel there, because the police have caught him, and they have him captured, and they're holding him in a room there, and they want me to come up and identify him. Could you tell me how to get there? All right, Ping. Yeah, I can tell you. I grew up in Morris County. I can tell you how to get there. Oh, good. I'm really happy for you. They caught him. Now you can go back to your normal life. Yeah. I can't wait to see you. All right, I think to myself, maybe I should see her. Maybe if I see her face to face, maybe I can get the truth out of her. So I tell her to meet me in Hamilton Park, which was near where I was living. I didn't feel like having her over. So it's a warm day in late autumn, and she comes walking up, and we're sitting on a bench, and I'm trying to decide if I should play good cop or bad cop. Should I just be real nice to her and maybe get the truth out of her that way? Or should I be real tough with her and try to intimidate her a little bit? I decided to play bad cop. I'm talking to her kind of tough about all these stories. And I question her stories. And she gets real mad. She says, I can't believe that you don't believe me. I can't believe that you don't believe me. After all I've been through, I don't want to ever see you again. I'm like, all right, fine. And she goes walking away. Like I really needed all that, you know? This was a few years back. There was something in that sequence that I'm forgetting, because at one point we did get together again during all these stories for an intimate moment. That didn't work out too good, because just as I was all excited and aroused and ready to go, all of a sudden she got mad at me because there was some kind of doubt that I was expressing about all this whole thing that she was going through. But anyway, this was it now. She's walking away from Hamilton Park on a nice, warm, late autumn day. And I'm like, that's cool. I'm walking back to my apartment. I had met this other girl who was also crazy. I was just meeting crazy girls at that time. New Year's Eve came. I didn't want to be with the new crazy girl. And then Ping calls me on New Year's Eve day and says, you want to get together for New Year's Eve? At this point, I had just decided after all this craziness, I just wanted to be by myself. I was going to go over to Jivamukti Yoga Center and bring in the New Year's in silence and meditation. And I still had that craving after a long dry spell for the touch of a woman. There was a part of me that would have liked to have taken Ping up on her offer because the physical connection was really good. I really enjoyed being with her, physically. But I said to myself, nah. And I said to her, no. I said, no, I'm just going to spend it by myself. And that's what I did. She called me in February one time. She was over at another uncle's house over in Queens, making cookies with her aunt and uncle, and asked me if I wanted to come over and make cookies with her. I said thanks, but no thanks. Then she emailed me a few times. She said she was moving back to Taiwan. And she still emailed me for about a year after that, on a pretty regular basis, but I never emailed her back. That was in 2002. I've met some other crazy girls since then. Maybe another story for another show. But I've met some really great girls too. And life can be really good. Have a good night. I love you.
Just hear